So I'm trying my best to look at silver linings as far as this season goes. Not the worst episode. There was parts where I was like, okay, I can watch this. So it's like that's where I'm at. I'm trying to find the silver linings.
It if it could get to the level of you can put it on in the background while you clean your house or apartment, that's good for them. That's a win. That's a win in my book. And today's episode seemed like it was almost quite there.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. We are going to do our best to not hate watch this episode, but no promises. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Goots at the Abbey. What's up, dude?
Positive Goots. That's what I'm going to try to be. Catching flies over there, Mr. Miyagi. What was that? Did you want to say something?
No, I was going to, but then I was going to say I missed it.
We're off to a great start here. Per usual, OC off to a great start. If you listen to our intro, which of course you did, because
you're here
now.
As
I know, why would you? Yeah, skip that part. This was a little bit of a better episode, which in the grand scheme of things for this season in particular, for this show overall, the last 5 years, it's something that we will take 10 out of 10 times. It's an episode that didn't quite annoy me a bunch. Nothing really happened, but they had fun together, kind of. So I don't know.
Yeah,
they seem like they might be friends, which, you know.
Yeah, and like there was enough that we dug into. I was like, all right, that's like semi-interesting. Not the Gina Travis stuff that we get into again for the third year in a row later, but like the Gretchen shit, obviously, if you're on social media, which I'm trying my best to stay off of as of late, but if you're on social media, you saw the Tamra Judge recordings and everything that came out. Obviously, she said a problematic word. Not great. And there's more to come along with that as far as rumors go. Speaking of rumors, did you hear tomorrow's the Rapture? I think this is like our fourth Rapture since we've been alive. So if it really is, and our last show covered is OC, I get to the pearly gates or hell more likely, I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be so upset.
I think if this is the Rapture, it's definitely garbage time Rapture. Like this should have happened a while ago. Like at this point, really, this is where we're getting a Rapture. Like that's not even news at this point. You know what I mean? Like if it happens,
expected.
Yeah, like it's almost greeted like with open arms and a very warm welcome at this point.
Yeah, bring a fucking asteroid along with it and just take me out. Land it right on my house, please.
Yeah, like give us the choice. Honestly, do you want to be raptured or do you want to just get hit with a meteor? I mean,
fucking smoke me with a meteor, dude.
To be fair, since we're talking about that, I would 1,000% choose the meteor because I've always wanted to like hang around in like the end of times, like knowing that a meteor is coming just to see what it looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting you said that because I am fascinated by those like AI videos, or if you watch like Don't Look Up, when the impact hits, boom, that big fucking wave comes over and like all the atmosphere catches on fire because of all the gas in the outer atmosphere, and we just turn into a giant flame ball. And then eventually life will return, as it always does.
Maybe it depends on how big the asteroid is.
No. I mean, the only way it would not is if the asteroid's big enough to knock us out of orbit and we get too close to the sun.
Oh, I was just thinking like full on blow us up, like break everything.
Because that's what happened when the dinosaurs died. Like it was millions of years of just cloud and lava and gas, and then it settles eventually. If you give anything enough time, it will settle.
Take the dinosaur meteor and multiply that by like 30, make it big. That could just kill us. There's nothing.
Well, it would blow up the planet. But of course,
cool. You get to see even a glimpse of that before you go. Kind of cool.
I mean, it'd be more fun to die that way than get raptured. And again, more than likely, I'm going down. So
I don't think that's how raptures work. But yeah, I think you just get stuck there. And then
am I stuck here?
Yeah, you're stuck here, and then hell comes up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm cool with that. That's fine. So I just get to stay here?
Like I would absolutely be probably the most anxious I've ever been in my life in the Rapture. Just that slow levitation all the way up to heaven. You don't know what you're going to see. Like, is it going to be cool? Is it going to be lame? Is heaven
Are you going
lame?
up? Well, I don't know. I think the funniest thing I've heard in regards to that is somebody, I think it was John Cleese back in the day, did a stand-up, and he was talking about like when the rapture happens and everyone's like lined up outside of the gates waiting on who gets in, and he's like, and guess what? The Mormons were right. Sorry,
Yeah.
Catholics. Like, are they in hell? And
That's what
the
I'm
devil's
thinking.
telling them who made it up, and it was the Mormons that were correct. And that's, we don't need to get into this whole theology argument, but
What are we
just
even
know
talking about? Yeah.
that while you're
OC.
listening, if you're listening to this recording and we're being raptured, thank you for ending the world with us.
Yeah. Podcast of choice to end the world with.
Hell yeah. Anyway, let's talk about some OC. I'm pumped. We still have the crew in separate locations, which makes my life miserable trying to keep track of where we're going. This one's a little bit more split up into bigger scenes, so it was a little bit easier. But we're starting out with Shannon, Tamara, and Gina picking up at dinner, where Tamara alludes to the drinking once again. And she tries to throw Gina under the bus. Now, we've discussed this. Gina having concerns is different than Tamara having concerns. Gina having concerns is founded in she's sober. She had issues with alcohol. She knows that Shannon's lonely. She's seen Shannon starting to tick up in the drinking a little bit. So she's just worried. She doesn't want Shannon to go back down that rabbit hole. So her speaking up is different. Her speaking to Tamara about it's also not problematic in my eyes. The problem lies in Tamara taking that information and attempting to weaponize it once again. And Gina's whole point to Tamara was at Tamara. And I'm glad she reiterates it here. She's like, no, no, no. I brought this up because I saw you sneaking off with Shannon to go drink, and that's problematic for me. And Tamara, of course, is like, well, her love language is a cocktail. I'm like, shut up. That's not a good reason to
Yeah.
take her to drink.
I'm a little conflicted on this when it comes to Gina, because yes, I do agree that she's the person that can bring something up to Shannon, because we've seen things in the past. Gina has seen things in the past. So if you're seeing some of the same behavior, sure, step in, because you're coming from a place of caring, of her not going back to that place, and you can step in because you have a lot of experience with it. Sure. The problem I run into pretty much every time when it comes to Gina is the timing of her
Time and
bringing this
place.
up.
Yeah.
Wait, go to Shannon's alone the next day when you get back from Temecula. Do not have Tamara within 2 or 3 miles of a radius around
Yeah.
Shannon when you're talking to her about it, because time and time again, it has been proven Tamara will take that information and use it for her advantage, which I don't even understand anymore what her advantage is and why she decides to try to knock down Shannon, again, being the person that you're enabling that behavior, because her love language is a cocktail and you're sneaking off with her to get away from the group so that you can get a cocktail and continue letting her drink. But also, I don't get what your end game is. Like, what are you trying to accomplish here? Is it just simply the motive of, if I have Shannon in a place where I can call her an alcoholic or suggest she's an alcoholic, I can keep her down. And if I can keep her under my foot, then I still have control over her, and I can control the narrative of our friendship moving forward. Even then, it's still skewed and wacky because it doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you want to be, and maybe I'm just not a toxic, manipulative friend, but why would you want to be in that position where you've got someone over here squirming because you're calling them an alcoholic, but then also opening up your life to them again so that they come back in as a friend? I don't get that. Like, why would you want a friendship like that? But Tamara doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to begin with. So that's the problem I run into, and I end up
I think
giving
it goes to
myself
what
an
Emily
aneurysm.
said, like where Tamara's constantly looking for the advantage. I'm constantly strategizing. If she can keep Shannon in a place of uncertainty and questioning her own shit, on the flip side of that, it opens the door for Tamara to step in and be the shoulder to lean on. That's what I get from it. And that's what I think when you see later at the end of the episode in Temecula where they're having breakfast, that's the vibe I'm picking up. She wants Shannon to need her, because then, like you said, she's got Shannon under her foot. And that's the only way. She's not trying to reconnect with Shannon for the friendship. She's trying to reconnect for power of the group.
I
Like,
do
that's what's
think
going
that
on.
there is a level, and this is what I never understood with the Trace Amigas, if you will. That whole friendship, obviously, it's been super toxic over the years. It's up and down. They're together, they're not together, whatever it might be. I do weirdly think that there is a level of friendship that they all kind of want. And they do have these like fond memories, because even Jen says it a little bit later. And, maybe this just goes to show you that Jen really wants to be like Tamara.
Yeah.
She even says it later. I remember all of the good times with Tamara. But in the beginning of the season, you would say that, and then there would be a caveat at the end of the sentence. But I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. But I know to not let my guard down. Now Jen's not doing that anymore. I think that Vicky, I think Tamara, I think Shannon, they all kind of do it. And obviously Tamara has her own brand of toxic friendships. And then Vicky and Shannon just kind of bounce back and forth. And they all kind of want to be friends again. They all remember the good times. But as soon as something happens, and Shannon is obviously in a much more sensitive place than the other two.
She's doing okay right now, honestly.
She's honestly doing okay in the sense of her guard is up.
Yes.
And sometimes it does lower a little bit, and we want to just bop her on top of the head like, Shannon, come on, don't do that.
Yep.
But as you see in the next morning, her guard's right back up. As soon as Tamra starts talking, she's like, I know what you're doing here. We're not dealing with this. And I think she handled herself pretty well the next day, honestly.
Yeah, I thought she handled herself pretty well the whole episode. I mean, there was moments, even at the dinner, though, you know, Tamra's trying her absolute best to infiltrate, and she's like, you know, what do I need to do? And Shannon's like, time, I guess. She's like, I'm grateful for today. I had fun. I laughed, but like, you know, I'm not there yet. To which, like, that's your answer for Tamra, who smeared you all season last year for your drinking while you were trying to climb out of this hole. She kept kicking you back into it. But Katie is irredeemable. That's crazy to me. And I know I'm going to keep bringing her up because she's not on the show right now. And I think that's a big facet of everything is like, as we're moving forward with this Tamra storyline, as you're seeing Gina, for some bizarre reason, playing matchmaker, trying to bring everybody back together and completely disregarding all the chaos that Tamra has caused. It's like, okay, so we're going to hold all this energy for Tamra because you're all scared of her. But because Katie's new, she's completely cast out for doing something 1/10 of what Tamra did last year. Got it. Okay, cool. Sick. And not to mention, we're bringing up recordings again. Yeah. So we're bringing up recordings later, which is that was the straw that broke the camel's back was hiding recordings. But we're bringing one up later that the whole group is seemingly trying to dive into. But that's not problematic. It doesn't make this is the most hypocritical cast on Bravo, and that's saying a lot.
That is saying a lot. I do think when it comes to that, we're seeing the writing on the wall as to why Tamra towards the end of the season, or maybe even in the off season, I'm not exactly sure when it happens, but we are seeing all of the pieces being laid out as to why Tamra starts to defect over to Katie's side.
Yep.
And we see that in the other van when they're coming back, going back to their sleepover, and they start talking about the recording that you just referenced. That's where my brain goes up. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's going to happen. You guys are going to start talking about this. Maybe Gretchen starts talking about it a little bit more. And Tamra goes, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to go over to Katie to piss you guys off a lot. And then I'm going to try to bring people over that aren't part of this. And it's going to leave somebody like Gretchen, Jen, Emily, Gina. Those people are going to be on the other side, which again works for the show because anything at this point I'll take. But when it comes to everything else, with Katie, I would love to be on a fly on the wall to hear the private conversations between these women about Katie, because there's no way that they're just filming, recording everything and not mentioning Katie whatsoever. They must have just had some sort of joint effort, whether it was a couple of them, and they probably all think, good, we got her off the show. She's gone. We don't even have to talk about her anymore. And that's probably what the fans want, because if it's one thing we know about OC, when they think about us and what we want, they are so wrong every single time. And that's probably what's going on. Like, wow, good for us. We actually got a W here, guys. We got Katie off the show, and now we don't even have to talk about her anymore. It's like she didn't happen. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Let's get to the Hollywood crew, though. And they're talking about Tamra, and Heather admits to being scared before about her, but no longer scared. I think she's still pretty scared of her. But we do get to dive in to some past Heather Dubrow, which is kind of rare. And I actually like this scene because she starts talking about, I guess, unseen footage. I don't know why we're seeing it now, not back then, but whatever. We see her talking to Tamara about her father. And I guess her dad would have these public outbursts, get really explosive and cause a scene. And that was pretty traumatic for her. So it's triggering when she sees Tamara do the same thing. So she brings that up to Tamara. And without even saying, like, you know, it kind of reminds me of you, Tamara goes, I don't do that. I don't have outbursts. It's like, okay, sure. And she completely sidestepped it, which bummed Heather out because it was a moment where a rare moment where we see Heather trying to extend the olive branch. Like she's trying to say, hey, this is something I want to talk about, which she doesn't talk about shit like this. And instead of Tamara getting into it, she just stiff arms her and goes, I don't do that. Fuck you.
And I like that she's talking about it to the group away from Tamara. She's bringing this up because this happened. We didn't really get to see it. So we don't really know exactly what happened, but obviously we can see that happening because as soon as somebody starts to even go down a road that might end at, you have some of the same behavior as somebody in my life, and I'm trying to learn from that, Tamara sees that coming a mile away and immediately just completely removes herself from the conversation of her own doing, of course. But when it comes to Heather talking about this whole thing, that's cool. I like that she's talking about this because, like you said, she doesn't really share a whole lot of personal details. This whole episode weirdly ended up being like trauma dad stuff
Yeah,
when
I
we
know.
get to Shannon a little bit later. Didn't really see that part coming. But again, if we can get Heather talking a little bit more to the group, talking a little bit more about her interpersonal relationships when it comes to people like Tamara or everybody else in the group, I'll take it because it's more than Heather Dubrow's done in like 4 seasons.
Yeah, agreed. It's nice to just hear about some of her shit, and it just humanizes. Like, I love Heather. I think that she's been phoning it in for a while. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
When she's doing her job, she's a great housewife, and a part of that job is to go back and like share some of your past experiences. So I actually really enjoyed this scene. I liked her pretty much this whole episode. It's like a looser Heather. You see her more comfortable with these
Yeah.
two ladies, which is nice. But
Could
this
we
is the
read it?
moment.
Maybe it's the audience. Maybe because she's got Emily and
Maybe.
Gretchen there, she
Yeah.
feels more comfortable. And every time that she's sitting there and she has to watch with whatever she's going to be saying around Tamara, around Shannon, maybe who knows what else might be going on there. Maybe that's what it is.
It could be. I mean, all the evidence points to that. And this is where you get Emily talking about, and it's just so frustrating to hear. She's like, this is why Tamara can't have real friendships. She's always trying to strategize this, that, the other. It's like, then why every time shit pops off, the minute you see her for the first time, you get on 2 knees and grovel?
Yeah.
Like, if you're knowing what she does, but you're not tough enough to stand up against it, like, why? It's just frustrating. It's really
Well, look,
frustrating.
and that's a common gripe that we talk about all the time, and I think that people misunderstand exactly what we're saying. We're not saying that we want Gina, Emily, Heather to just completely turn the other cheek and walk away from Tamara.
No.
We're saying we want you to bring it up. That's how these
Yes,
shows
check her.
operate. Tamara can obviously figure it out for herself. She's a very good housewife. If you can just confront her and talk to her about it, maybe we get a blow up. Maybe we get some interesting drama that we haven't seen before in the last couple of years. And it actually gets us to lock back in when it comes to this show. But instead, you guys talk about it separately, which I'm going to take right now for sure, because there's no other, like, it's not like you guys are connected right now. You guys are in 2 different places. At least start talking about it now and then build on that the next episode and build on that and then confront Tamara. Try to get some of your facts straightened out at least before you go after Tamara, because we know she likes to nitpick. And again, I'm not saying I don't want them to be friends. We actually want them all to be friends, but we want there to be good drama. We want to see a lot of shit pop off that's completely new every season, that's completely new every episode. That's what makes shows great, and that's what OC is doing so badly right now.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go to the Abbey, where there's a bunch of hot dudes in mankinis dancing around, and I just got to say this. Emily and Shane's marriage it has to be in shambles. It has to be in shambles, because the minute she gets there, she's like, wow, look at all these dudes. And she's like getting dry humped. She's dancing with them. And like, look, no king shaming here. But at the same time, when we're seeing scenes, whether you're with Shane or with the ladies disparaging Shane, and then the second you see a bunch of hot, sweaty dudes, you are all over them. All signs point to unhappy.
Yeah.
You put all the evidence together. It's like, I'm concerned about your marriage. And I think that both Heather and Gretchen were both, I think Heather's the one in the confessional that was like, she really needs to get laid pretty much, because look what's going on here. And all in all, like, it was a really fun scene. I enjoyed it. I liked watching them all cut loose, like watching them dance. They're just having fun. And sometimes we just need a good, fun night out. And that's what we got here. We don't get this very often with OC. I thought Gretchen was funny. I thought Emily was a little too much, but I thought Heather was funny. So this was a fun scene. And we actually get some shit out of this too, because when they're in the car afterwards, the one comment that I had to write down, and I'm probably nitpicking and I'm probably going to get shit for it, but I don't really care. We FaceTime Shane and, whatever conversation happens. And Emily goes to a confessional. She's like, sometimes moms just need some time away. It's like, we've seen you away a lot amidst all of this shit going on at home. You're so concerned about your kid that you bring it up every episode, which is your prerogative. It's not our child. But at the same time, it seems like every episode she's making a comment like, God, I need to be there. But you're not.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that a couple times. She made 2 or 3 comments while they were down in New Orleans alone, and they were only in New Orleans for a weekend. And none of those, by the way, were the same as this comment. This comment was, sometimes moms just need to be alone. Down in New Orleans, it's killing me that I'm not there. you can't have it both ways. I understand that you're
Right.
conflicted, and I understand that this is new, so I'm going to give you a little bit of grace when it comes to that. But you talk about it so much, and every confessional you're talking about whether you should be there or whether you need a breather. At least she wasn't just bashing Shane and saying something like, I can't believe that Shane's just sitting at home and he downloaded some aviation software for our iPad so that he can play that. That's not what he should be doing. He should be doing this. It's like, I thank God you didn't say something
Yeah,
like
she
that.
said, "Oh, cool." I was like, "All right, that's
Yeah.
nice."
Yeah, that's all you got to say. Or we just don't even need the confessional there.
Yeah, it was just interesting. But they're talking about karaoke, and the Tamra in the studio audio comes up, and obviously, again, I've heard the track or leading up to the track and her saying the R word. Um, but there's more to it that I didn't know actually until I watched this episode, and then I did some digging and I figured out who the alleged affair was with. Do you know who?
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I
it's
was
not
hoping you would do it.
corroborated. It's a hard alleged because it's
Yeah, I
all,
didn't
you
have
know,
time.
it's like deep dives in Reddit and things like that and people speculating. So I
Give me some
don't
hints.
Okay, Nick Lachey.
Oh, so it's Nick Lachey.
No, it's not, but that's your hint.
Wait, what is that? It's another guy from
Think
98
about his
Degrees?
group. Yeah. I don't even know anybody else in the group, so
in
this was
that,
news to
yeah.
me. Jeff
Okay, who is it?
Timmons. Jeff Timmons of 98 Degrees is the
Got
alleged affairee because
Tracks.
before, like, my initial dig into it was a member of a boy band. Then I went a little deeper and it says 98 Degrees, and then Jeff Timmons finally popped up. So I don't know who that is, but allegedly that's who she had the affair with, leading to more where they were not aware that it was recording. It's a Sylvester Stallone in his trailer kind of situation. I don't know if you know that story. Cradle the balls.
Yep.
Yeah, come on. It's Cradle the balls. Anyway, apparently the studio was recording. She boinked Jeff Timmons. That's all on tape. Now, understand the source. Okay, I'm not going to go ahead and say that this is damning evidence because the only person that we know that has heard this is wannabe housewife Slade, who's a fucking loser. So I don't know if I believe this one. I'm not going to take it to the bank. But that's the rumor.
He was on Watch What Happens Live, and the only reason I know that is because it turned on right afterwards. Otherwise, I wouldn't have watched this episode because it was Gretchen and Larsa. Yep. But Slade, of course, was in the audience, just sitting front row, and he kept asking him questions. So it is enabling. Like, stop asking Slade questions. Stop getting him involved. Don't have his FaceTime like the most clear 4K that I've ever seen in my life on a FaceTime.
And he gets a confessional too.
I know. Usually we get those grainy ass FaceTimes that, like, the connection's not great. Instead, this is just a beautiful, beautiful picture of Slade on this FaceTime talking about this, talking about the recording that he's watched and listened to, and he knows what's going on, but he doesn't like to talk shit on Tamra. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to drum up all this stuff. He simply just wants to be the truth teller. He is
the arbiter of truth.
That's what he is.
God, who was that? Dumbass. The arbiter of truth was it was that dude. Oh, fuck. Was it? It's not Joe Gorga.
No. Oh, was it
JT
JT was the
from
arbiter
Southern Charm.
Yeah.
He was the arbiter, the self-proclaimed arbiter of truth. That loser. I'm glad we don't have to see him anymore. But anyway, now we're at the vineyard hot tubbing, and I guess Heather's weed is like the best weed. It's like the Vouv of pot. I don't know. I would imagine it's probably just a dispensary near their house. But my other thought was, like, this tube they've had this since that party. That's probably some stale ass weed.
Back
but
when
they're
Katie
all
was
excited.
The show.
So a century ago, many moons ago, when we saw Katie back there. But
hey, you ever just need an emergency joint? Gina's got you.
Gina's got it in the bag, so they all blaze up. They're gonna get in the hot tub, and this whole shtick of Gina's of, Tamra, I really think that she's changing, and we just need to give people space for growth. I'm like, oh, but we're not going to give Katie any space for growth. We're just going to give Tamra, self-proclaimed narcissist asshole. We're going to give her lots of space, but Katie can go fuck herself. Makes no sense. And this
maybe
platform,
if Katie were to come out and say that she's going to therapy to stop talking to bloggers, then they would give her a little bit.
Is that what the step is?
I think it's just that you have to be at a therapist's office. I don't even think you need to sit down with a therapist. You just
the
have to
weaponization of therapy therapy on this show is fucking banana land, dude. It is
just
crazy.
hire what was the paparazzi person's name? Shane, I think.
Shane.
Yeah, just hire Shane to stand outside of the office, take a picture of Katie walking into the therapy office, and then all of a sudden everything's forgiven. Because then all
She's
they're
in
going to talk about
therapy.
is, wait, did you hire that? Did you hire that paparazzi to take a picture of you going to therapy? No, but I can come back on the show, guys, right? That's all we need.
Oh, it's so annoying, dude. It's fucking annoying. But the one thing that gave me, cause for hope, and then again later on, is Jen and Shannon in the house, and they're both like, uh,
Yeah.
we see what she's doing. Like, let's keep our guard up. Let's keep our distance up. We know how this goes. It's fascinating though. And like, this is one thing I did enjoy this episode is to watch Tamra do her thing because she's so good at it. Like the
I
minute they
know.
say this, but then, they got the caps on, the shirts with the bikinis, and they're laughing, having a good time. And she's kind of reeling. You watch her slowly do her thing. And it's like 2 steps forward,
All
1
it
step
took,
back.
by the way, was the FaceTime with Shannon, where Shannon said, I don't know if I want to wear a bikini. And she goes, oh, babe, you don't have
I
to.
got you.
You don't have
Yeah.
to. I got you. I got you all sorted. Gets her a shirt with a bikini on it. Perfect. Everything's all forgiven. Everything's good. But again, at least we're starting to see now. I don't know. I assume by the end of the season, we're going to have a much different Jen. But we do see Jen and Shannon sitting there discussing her tactics. So at least now you've got us focused on it because there's nothing else to focus on really on this show. And producers are doing a better job of showing you a little bit of everything, piece by piece, what Tamara's doing to try to snake her way back in there. But the problem with Tamara, every time she does this, I give her credit because she's very good at it. She's incredibly good at how she moves. She's not dealing with the brightest of bulbs when it comes to this audience. So she's able to just kind of snake in. And for whatever reason, they let their guard down at some point. But this time seems a little different. And I think what you see here and going on to the next morning is that Tamara gets a little erratic. She gets almost too close and tries to do a little too much too fast. And she's not used to people being aware of that. Usually all it takes is, oh, I got us some swim caps. I got us some t-shirts. We're going to take a couple of pictures and we're just going to have a really fun night. By the morning, everything's forgiven. She can make her jokes. She can make her comments. And everyone's like, oh, Tamara, come on. We're not going to do that. But this time's a little different. So it gives me a little bit of some sort of hope.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point is her dealing with any criticism immediately kind of pushes her off her path. And that's where she falters. And that's where they're able to gain that leg back. It's like I said, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So like you can see them warming up slowly, but then something happens and they kind of backtrack a little bit. So
Yeah.
because of the blow up in the morning, it feels like more ground was lost than gained.
Yeah.
But this is when we really start to dig into the song and the alleged recording that's going on, because we get back to Heather's place and Emily, I don't know if she's soliciting Nate, who is the sleep butler, but she's like, have you ever worked at the Abbey? I was like, that's weird.
Oh,
That
you would
feels
be doing
weird.
so well there at the
Yeah.
Abbey.
And even he's like, okay, great. Good night, ladies. If you need
Sure, I
me,
would
I'm going to be hiding
totally.
in the bathroom. Like, what?
Yeah, what in the world? Yeah, just if you guys need anything, I'll be back. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, bye
Actually,
guys.
I'm switching with my coworker because I
Yeah,
don't feel comfortable here anymore.
so
But
funny.
they FaceTime Slade, and of course Slade takes the opportunity to mention these extracurriculars and bring it up on camera, even though in his confessional, why are we giving this man confessionals? I don't know.
Mhm.
But in the confessional, he's like, I just, I want to tell the truth. I don't want to tell anybody like about that. I just want to tell the truth. It's like, no, you don't. You just want to hold an orange because you're a
Yeah.
bitch. And you use this opportunity to throw out this pretty big allegation of an affair. There's evidence of the affair. It's been floating around because everything I saw, this has been going on since like 2017.
Mhm.
This rumor kind of started. That this isn't damning evidence for me. This isn't like, oh,
No.
I'm not saying it did or did not happen. I don't know. I need to hear the smoking gun. But Slade is not going to convince me that Tamara
No.
had an affair with whatever fucking Timmons, whatever his name
This
is.
is this is the easiest consider the source of anyone's life.
Correct.
We have him back on our screen. If you have any history with OC, you know where Slade is, you know what he's going to do, what he wants to do. And you know that Gretchen is just a pawn in his scheme to try to get himself on the show, get him an orange. Who cares what he's going to do? No, absolutely not. And it's Tamara. So, like, it's low hanging fruit. And you know that people watching the show who hate Tamara are going to jump on that. But honestly, again, Tamara's a really good housewife. You're not, Slade. Gretchen's not. There's a reason why you're not on the show anymore, or now you are back on the show, but there's a reason why you took such a long hiatus. No, absolutely not. For whatever reason, I believe Tamara. And
Yeah,
until,
I know.
again, until somebody shows us otherwise and we actually get some evidence, we're not going to move.
I'm not going to sit here and say Slade's right, because fuck that guy. But back to the hot tub. Gina brings up Shannon's health again, and this is time and place for me again, because Tamra is witnessing this conversation. All it does is give her ammunition to try to use against her. And I guess Shannon's had some health concerns over the years. Obviously, drinking is extremely detrimental to your body, especially if you do it at an alcoholic level. So there's cause for concern, sure. But the setting in which you're doing it is inappropriate. Why you're doing it is even more inappropriate, because what Gina is opening the door to and what Tamra then piles into is the fact that she lives alone. She lives with Archie. So they're going to sit there and speculate on what her life looks like behind closed doors because they're concerned she's alone. That's inappropriate. You can't sit there and tell an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic or somebody going through whatever Shannon's going through. You can't talk about what happens behind closed doors. She's doing the work in her mind. She's going to therapy multiple times a week. She's doing her Sudokus and timing them, all of that stuff, whatever. Like, that's what we have. That's the evidence we have. We've yet to see a night with Shannon in 2 years where she's been an absolute mess, where she's been a train wreck, where as a recovering alcoholic, I haven't seen a moment where I'm like, oh, fuck. But they keep trying to allude to it. And this is what gives Tamra, makes her feel somewhat emboldened. And I know Gina's doing it. I do believe she's doing it from a place of concern. But because of the setting in which she's doing it, it just gives Tamra like a softball. Like, here you go.
It does. Yeah. And that's really the problem too, because you can think whatever you want about Shannon's drinking. I personally think that maybe there's a chance, if Gina's the one who's saying it and Gina has her eye on this, there's a chance that Shannon has learned to not do certain things on camera so that she can't get caught. Maybe she's going home when the cameras aren't there, and that's where it's getting a little bit disrupted. And maybe Gina's kind of keyed in on that. That's a possibility. So I'm going to leave that open. That door is definitely open. But again,
then go to Shannon and talk to her one-on-one.
Exactly.
Don't bring it up in a hot tub high.
No, bringing it up in a hot tub high in Temecula on a trip that Tamara organized is not the best place. Do it alone. If you do it alone, then I will actually heed your concerns and I will actually believe them. And then we'll look, obviously, we can't really look super far into this because we are only privy to the information that we're presented with on this show. But at least then I'll believe you that you're doing this for the right reasons, that you actually care and you actually have some concern for Shannon. Doing it in front of Tamara, there's always going to be some level of, is this produced? Are you guys just striking out all over the place? And this is just an easy thing to talk about because now Tamara's going to start talking to Shannon about it. Shannon's going to get upset, have a meltdown, as we've seen a million times at this point. And then all of a sudden you guys are like, whoa, this is great. There's so much drama. This is a great season. I don't want to do that again. So I'm a little wary when it comes to that. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Gina saying it gives it a little bit more, I don't know, validity. But again, time and place, not really the best place.
Yep, I completely agree. And we get to the next morning at the vineyard. Shannon's making breakfast, and you can tell she has spent the night either thinking on this or she woke up and was like, I'm not fucking doing this again, because she's very distant. And Tamra is trying to do the most. She's like, hey, you going to invite me over? Like, the new house, blah, blah, blah. And Shannon doesn't even answer. She's like, where's the sugar? Where's the sugar? I'm trying to make breakfast. And Tamara's like, oh, she's such an Aries. She can't do multiple things at once. When are you going to invite me over? And Shannon's like, I don't know. So at some point.
I think the most telling part of that conversation was when Tamara goes, she's just like Eddie. You can't talk to him while he's in the middle of doing something. Like, maybe Eddie doesn't want to talk to you. Maybe,
we've seen Eddie around.
Eddie this season at all. So what's going on there?
The last time we saw Eddie, he was cowering in a blanket.
Yeah.
So not great. Anyway, Travis's court date comes up. I guess he's trying to get full custody. We've heard this story for a while. Like, yes, we feel bad. Of course,
we do.
We want this saga to be over. It just feels like
in a shit season, we don't want to talk about it. Like,
it's like I feel like she's trying to find something, and I feel like a big issue this season is the fact that the two most consistent storylines that we've gotten that have spanned the whole season have been Emily and her children and Gina and Travis.
Yep.
And that's not what we need. And it's not that it's not important, but these, like, for example, these stories and this drama and these issues would be more interesting if we had a main storyline to latch onto and then we checked in with Emily and Gina. Now I'm going to be like, oh, what's going on the side here? But because they're taking center stage, it's like, yeah, we know it's hard. Yeah, we hear you and we feel for you. But like, this is the umpteenth scene that we've seen where it's literally the same exact copy and paste word for word. So I think that's a big issue that we're having this year.
Yeah, I think my time for feeling bad about my comments on it being boring and nothing new has really come to an end. And it came to an end last season because she did it like 4 or 5 times. And obviously, you know, there is new information. We're hearing things through the grapevine. There's things on social media for sure. But it is more of the same. And it's now in the same realm as Ashley Darby's divorce. Like, update me when there's an update. I don't need to talk about it. And yes, maybe once a season, if it's a good season, you can give me a little update. Like, hey, you know, by the way, Travis is still going to court for this. His ex is still crazy. There's still issues with custody, and then move on. And I feel bad now because I think she's only done this like once or twice this season, but we immediately zero in on stuff like that when the season sucks. Like, all right, seriously, like the season blows. Like, now you're talking to us about something that you've talked to us about 50 times. I don't need to do it again. So if she continues doing it, I'm going to be annoyed. But if she leaves it at this, I'm going to leave it alone.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to do it. I have not resonated with somebody on this show as much as I did with the private chef at breakfast.
Oh my God, dude.
That shit was so funny.
2 eggs over hard?
I don't think you understand, bro, how many times I've cooked at, you know, I'm a private chef and my clients they tend to be wealthier. They don't like rare steak. They do not like medium rare steak. You got to cook that bitch until it is a leather wallet. And that, as a chef, like this dude talking where he's like, oh God, I would never serve that, but sure. It's like, it goes against everything in you to serve an over hard egg. And then watching him, like, you know, balk at requests where he's like, yeah, I could do poached eggs, which are not like a quick, easy thing to do. Yeah, sure, I can do that too. And in my head, I was going over, I've had so many moments where like I have a full course meal and it's been previously discussed. I have the menu items. I have alternatives for some people. And then I take it out and they're like, do you have tofu? I'm like, no. Why would I have that? Nobody asked for that. Like, why would I bring tofu when no one said I needed tofu? Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Put this guy in the same category as the butler from the night before. Correct. I'm going to the kitchen. I'm going to make you guys a bunch of stuff. I'm already prepped for a few things. Just eat it or don't. I don't care. At least somebody will get fed.
At the same time, his decorum, I was like, but that's not how I handled it, though. I was very like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He's like, oh, fuck you.
And I think this was probably, maybe he works with Heather a lot and Heather and him have a good rapport. And he's able to do things like that where it's like, no, not doing that.
But let's talk about Slade and Gretchen, because wow, that's why.
Yeah.
Wow. First of all, that's what we do. Talk about a sleep divorce, because Terry obviously strolls in, delightful as ever. And, you know, the rapport between Terry and Heather is awesome. I always enjoy watching those two go back and forth. You can tell they love each other, tell they're happy. You can tell that they're really in love because of the pictures that were taken, unbeknownst to them, holding each other in Disneyland. But anyway,
come on, there was no adultery. There was no adultery at all. Did you see those two at Disneyland? Beautiful couple.
That guy didn't cheat.
No,
allegedly.
See how happy he is, just sleeping in his own bed. No,
how far away he was from his wife and happy about it. Anyway, Gretchen resonates. She's like, oh yeah, that's why I make Slade sleep on the couch. Does not have the same ring to it as Heather and Terry splitting bedrooms.
Nope.
That has a much different air to it. And then when we start to dive into the finances, which, by the way, ladies, nice job. Nice line of questioning here. This was a great scene. And you see Heather and Emily kind of tag teaming it, which I loved watching them do their work. They're like, all right, well, let's talk about the house. I'm stoked that Gretchen's like, you know, the house is in my name. This is in my name. I don't want to trust anybody. I'm like, good for you. Fuck yeah. Make sure you keep your bag. But at the same time, does he pay rent? Why would he pay rent? I don't know. Because he's living in your house for fucking free. Does he pay for groceries?
The line of questioning devolved so quickly, and I'm delighted by the line of questioning.
Same.
Going from does he pay rent to what does he do to contribute? Because as we know from 2012, he's a deadbeat. So what do you have him doing over there? Because we can't figure it out for the life of us. And I love that Gretchen doesn't see it coming, has no idea that they're going to go ahead and just dig into her finances and her relationship with Slade. Are you guys going to get married? Well, I'm not totally turned off by the idea of marriage. That doesn't really inspire much confidence, but sure.
Not at all.
It's been years of you guys doing this. And I know that there were some, shaky situations where with him and the kids and, his ex and all of that, whatever, but you're still in that weird bucket of, yeah, we might get married, we might not. You're never going to get married. Just admit it. Just like be honest at this point. And she never saw this coming. She thought for sure, wow, we had such a great night. Now I'm just in. I don't have to deal with any of this. They're not going to turn on me. Nope. It's time for breakfast. Let's dig into you. What's going on?
What happens when
Give us an
Heather
answer.
does her job, dude?
I know.
When she's locked in, it's great TV because she's panicking now. She's like, this is a weird line of questioning. They're like, so? They double down. Emily was great in this scene. Like, I'll give her props when she's good. Like, they were both, they were doing it in a way where they were kind of putting the onus on her, where it's like, well, you've said this. That doesn't make a lot of
Emily's
sense.
most comfortable when she's ganging up on somebody,
Absolutely,
which is usually completely unfair. But right now, I'm okay with it.
I'm totally fine because they seem to have developed this like friendship overnight. But then the chickens come home to roost, and she's like, well, okay. So he's a total fucking deadbeat grifter. Got that. Check. Anyway, let's move on to the Tamra stuff. And Gretchen's panicked. Absolutely panicked. You guys are gonna get me in trouble, blah, blah, blah.
What happens
in
at
my
a girl's
head,
sleepover stays at a girl's sleepover. You're still at the sleepover.
It was recorded.
What do you mean?
It was recorded on camera for all of us to see. You're on a microphone, dude.
I'm not even holding her accountable for that part of it. You're still at the sleepover. Just because it's the next morning and Emily's ordering hard eggs doesn't mean that you don't talk about things. You said it. And I love this because we want to get Gretcherssss drunk. We want to have her drink some Fireball. And then the truth's really going to come out. Here we go. The truth came out. Did you think that it was going to stay there? Like,
dude.
That always boggles me. You are right in front of a camera. And now this is at least twice. I could probably count a lot more, but at least twice between that conversation you had in the car with Tamara and Shannon about, did you go to the hospital? You went to the hospital. And now you're backtracking and saying you didn't. And now here we are again. You talked about Tamara's recording. Did you not?
You FaceTime Slade, bro.
We have nothing to talk about. The castmates know it. This is served up on a silver platter. And you think that we're just going to, let's just let bygones be bygones. We're not going to bring this back up.
No.
We're certainly not going to talk to Tamara about it when she gets back from Temecula. That's not going to happen. You screwed yourself. And this happens every time with her.
But that's the thing that bugged me so much between this and then the hospital thing. You were brought back to this show with a job to do, to take Tamara to task. You've had two great opportunities, but the minute that shit pops off, you panic because you're afraid of Tamara and you backtrack so heavy. But the problem now is Heather's been activated a little bit, so she's starting to get involved with this. That's exciting. Emily found some new gossip to go to, which she loves to do. So you've just served this up, like you said, on an absolute platter. And of course, we're going to talk about it. And we finally get an answer to what happens to cause Tamara to flip somebody off and go, fuck you, and like run off. Now we know it was you, Gretchen. So instead of leaning away from this, I want you to be all in on this. I want you calling Slade and trying to dig up this recording. I want you to embrace the villain role because you can be an anti-hero. You can be Deadpool here. You can step into this role and be like, you know what? I'm going to do everything I said I wasn't going to do, but I'm going to do it at Tamra. Watch this, guys. But no, instead, you panic, you curl up into a ball, you call Slade. You guys are going to come up with a new code word. Whatever you said to Matt and Katie, like, you got to hold the line. That's what we're seeing. And that's where she is not a good housewife. She clearly didn't learn in the off season when she had that big pause. She could have a meteoric rise. But bring meteors back up since we talked about getting hit by him earlier.
Full circle.
Meteoric rise. How about that full circle moment? Hell yeah. But instead, you choose to be Tamra's lackey. That sucks. That sucks so hard.
It really sucks too, because that is such a Tamra MO. And I can't even fault Tamra for it because it's just simply too easy when she does something like this. You were presented with two roads. You could do your job and what you came back for and take down Tamra, or Tamra bats her eyes once at you and tries to be friends and let bygones be bygones, and you take that route.
That
Or at
one, I'll
least
do
you try to
that.
take that route. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do this one. Let me go sit down with Slade first and just talk this whole thing through. That's how he contributes, by the way, is managing her OC appearances.
Oh yeah, it's like
Managing
we've
her
had that
camera
already.
presence.
Fucking John
Yeah.
Jansen at 2.0.
Yeah. That's all she's really doing here. And it's funny, honestly, in this season, because nothing's going right, nothing really is captivating. I'm going to laugh at this. Like, I'm
Yeah,
seriously
same.
just going to laugh at Gretchen failing to do her job, being presented with the opportunity to maybe be friends with Tamara. And by the end of the season, you're not going to be friends with Tamara because you're going to bring this up, or somebody else is going to bring it up because you already brought it up. And that's how this is going to go for you. Bon voyage. See you later. Get out by the end of the season.
Voyage. What?
Bon voyage.
Voyage.
Yeah.
Are you
voyage.
pronouncing the V as a B?
I'm pronouncing the V as a Y. What am I supposed to say?
Voyage.
Bon bavage?
Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
Yeah, you said bon voyage.
No, I didn't.
Roll the tape. Anyway, let's get to
Prove it.
breakfast at the vid. Yeah, I can. And as soon as I edit, I'll send you a clip. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, breakfast at the vineyard. And again, Shannon is the topic of conversation, her being alone with Archie. I thought her rebuttal was great. It's like, look, I'm going to therapy multiple times a week. I'm taking care of my side of the street. I think this is a conversation held for, we've said it multiple times. If Gina and Jen want to have this conversation back in OC with her, hey, are you sure you're good? I'm cool with that. This seems performative and reaching a little bit. And we get further into it where it's like, why do you escalate things so fast from Jen? And I'm like, that's actually a decent question because it ramps up in a hurry. Great answer. She's like, look, I've been talking to my therapist. I guess I catastrophize things. Like it starts small. I turn into something much bigger. We get more about her childhood because I guess she grew up in a tough household. Mom and dad were getting a divorce and she never knew what to expect. It was chaotic. So now she always assumes the worst. It all kind of tracks. It's starting to really click. And credit to her for going to therapy to find these things out where it's like, oh, I finally learned why I'm so reactive. I'm working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We know for a fact Shannon's been in therapy for an extended period of time. She went to, it wasn't rehab, but she went to a mental health facility for a while to get her shit together after the DUI.
Is that the gold door place?
I don't know.
Is that what she's talking about?
I don't. Oh,
because she did say that she's going to get a plaque or something there. I wonder.
Maybe that's where she went. I don't know. That's a good point.
By the way, it's still more legit than whatever Jax went to. So
sure, absolutely. Yeah, Jax went to a resort apparently. You could leave at your own will. That was
a townhouse.
So fucking stupid. I can't. Oh, you just made me mad. Anyway, she tells this horrible story of like mom filed papers but didn't get to the courthouse in time. Courthouse closed. Already told Shannon, hey, I'm divorcing your dad. I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just like crazy. Dad comes home. They go play tennis as a family, have dinner. Meanwhile, all the kids know that mom's divorcing dad. Brutal fucking story. But she's sharing, right? And like she's talking about her shit, which I really appreciate. And she's like, I don't want to hurt my father, blah, blah, blah. And Tamra jumps in. So didn't he have a drinking problem? It's like, bro, what?
Seriously?
What are we doing? Why are you doing that? Then it's exactly what Jen said. You're doing this because if you call Shannon an alcoholic again, we're going to turn on you at home. So instead, let's set up the trail. Dad's an alcoholic. Everyone knows it runs in families. Therefore, Shannon is an alcoholic.
And again, who it's coming from. If Gina had said that, and again, Tamara's there, so this would not really work. But if Gina said, didn't you tell me that your dad was an alcoholic? Yes, I did. The answer would have been, yes, I did. He had some problems. And then it would have completely gone a little bit deeper and we would have been able to understand the psyche. Tamara saying it, you haven't earned that. And you never will earn that after what you've done in the past and your past behaviors. You're never going to be in a place where you can look at Shannon and with a straight face say, was your dad an alcoholic? Because we know what the follow-up statement or question is going to be. Do you think about sometimes, do you see some traits that you see within yourself, within your dad and what you went through? It's never coming from a good place. She's sharing with the group, which this is why Shannon gets guarded. This is why we haven't seen Shannon share with the group like this in years. She's finally back at a place. I don't know what got her here, but she's finally back at a place that she can share with the group. And immediately she's going to shell right back up. Immediately just going to cross everything off. Nope, not doing that. Not going there with you guys anymore.
Good.
And we're going to see once again, Shannon's going to be guarded because you decided to do that. And of course, Tamara's going to take the stance of, What? She's sharing and I'm commenting on it and trying to draw parallels to help her. You're not. You just
of
aren't.
course.
And you never have. You never will. You're always going to be the same person. We all see this coming a mile away. What you're doing, trying to set it up. It's pretty clunky as far as Tamra goes, to be honest.
I know. I thought
That's
so
why I
too.
was saying last night, the night before, you see this, everybody seems to be happy. You might be having some sort of, I don't know, there might be some way that you can get back in with Shannon based off of last night, but she's still a little guarded. Now is not the time to be erratic like this.
No.
And this is weird for Tamra because usually she doesn't do this so quickly. It would take a few
panicking
episodes.
a bit.
And I don't really understand why, because usually she would take a couple episodes to get back in the good graces, talk to other people about it, maybe pester Gina a little bit, like, hey, what are you seeing from Shannon when it comes to drinking? And then she would have this information, bring it back up when we come to Amsterdam. Instead, she just jumps on this. It's so quick for Tamra to do something like this.
I know.
So it's almost completely out of her character.
Yeah, I was surprised by it. It's clunky, like you said.
Yeah.
And all it does is force the walls immediately back up, and honestly furthers the walls even more than they were previously, because Shannon walls off. She's like, dude, absolutely not. Like, my father's 96. We've dealt with this. I'm currently dealing with it in therapy. You're not going to sit here and try to condemn my father and paint him to be some piece of shit. This happened back a long time ago. He's 96 years old. He's a different guy. I have a good relationship with him. Fuck off. Gina, of course, is like, she's just trying to help Shannon. It's like, no, she's fucking not. And Jen, thank God, is not still up Tamara's ass. And she's like, that's not what's happening. She's like, that was inappropriate. To the point that she goes to question Tamara. After Tamara drops the line, this is probably my biggest Tamara pet peeve, because she's done therapy for a month. She's like, well, if you bury it, it's like, yeah, dude, what? You're talking to Shannon, who went away. And I'm glad Shannon said it. She's like, I went to a facility for a month and did therapy for 8 hours a day. And you're going to sit here and essentially, you're going to Tamsplain therapy to me?
Tamsplain's good.
Tamsplain's great. But like, I'm glad she stands firm and completely shuts down. Tamara plays victim, as we've seen him. I'm just, everything I do, it's like, because it's not real. We can see it at home. It's not real. God knows what it feels like in person. It's like, Jesus, force the issue a little harder, Tamara. You're not usually this brash. You're usually much more finessed with your approach.
It's one thing to try to Tamsplain therapy. And usually people on Bravo, when they are using trigger words that they've learned in therapy for a week or two, they have some semblance of being correct and they're using it the right way. This is the opposite. She's not burying it. She's actually opening up. Let the woman open up about her past. If she wants to share it with you guys, it's probably something that she's talked to her therapist about. Tamara, if you go to therapy for another couple of weeks, maybe to an actual therapist, not a whatever the hell
psychotherapist that she goes to that wants to be on TV.
Yeah, that's probably just like using a clock to try to hypnotize you into being a better person. I'm assuming that's part of the routine over there. If you let her open up, it's going to be good for everybody, because then she's going to feel like she's got a weight lifted off of her chest, and now she can be back to being Shannon, being a little happier, because Shannon's been miserable all year and all last season, and rightfully so. Obviously, last season was really rough for her. This season's a little bit better, but she's still really guarded. She's still a little miserable. Let her get this off so that she can be light, airy Shannon again, which is very good for the show. Very good for the show that you're on, that you're trying to heavily produce in front of our eyes. I don't understand that at all. She's not burying it. She's simply electing to not tell you because she knows who you are and what you're going to do. She will probably turn around and have a further conversation with people that she can trust. Maybe we see Gina and Jen going over to check on Shannon and talk further about this, and then she can feel a little bit better. But now, again, you want to get back to a place where you can just be part of everything. You're not going to be part of this because of what you just did. And of course, you're going to get defensive and say, I was just trying to help. Of course, everybody's just going to immediately look at me. Oh, there goes Tamara again, trying to dig in and trying to make fun of everybody.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. Like, we know that's what you're doing. So don't act like you're not.
And then you go inside and you make a drinking dig. Have another glass of champagne, Shannon. That's the problem. Yep. That proves where you're coming from, dude. That's what we keep saying. And Jen goes inside to confront her. Let Shannon know, like, Tamara said that wasn't a dig. It's like, and Shannon's response is perfect. She's like, oh, great. Of course I'm going to believe that. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then Gina puts on a blanket and lays on the floor. It's like, I don't want to hear about therapists or mental health. Then stop bringing it up. What? Yeah. You're the one that caused this conversation over the past 24 hours. What are you talking? You don't get to tee it up and then it goes south because Tamara's an idiot. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't handle the therapy talk anymore. You're fucking behind it, bro. Then stop. Yeah, like unreal as she's laying there like, I'm so tired of this. It's like you guys continue to force the issue of reuniting Tamara and Shannon, unbeknownst to us. I have no idea why this is so important to bring these two back together. We can have Shannon's at a point, I believe, that she can coexist with Tamara if you stop shoving Tamara down her throat. And if Tamara can recognize, like, look, that ship has sailed a little bit. At least we can go on a trip and have some fun together. That's the only place we need to get back to.
Yeah.
We do not need to get back to Tamara and Shannon being besties. It's not going to happen. So
talking about alcoholism.
Right. Stop forcing it. And then when it doesn't go your way, you lay on the floor and have a fit that you don't want to talk about mental health or therapy anymore, even though you're the one that consistently brings it up. Great work. Great work, Gina. All in all, like, especially after recapping it, like it was a decent episode. Like, I'm not going to shit on this one. We had a lot of things go right. Obviously, some common tropes that we've been irritated with over the past couple of years continue to rear their ugly head. But I think we can mark this one off as a good episode, all things considered. Heather showing up to work was nice. Getting the dig on Slade and all that shit, figuring all that out was fun. So, you know, if we can do this and coast to the reunion, which we think is going to be pretty solid, I can handle that. I can handle the rest of this. I know I'm going to be disappointed next week. Yeah, absolutely. But you know, there's a sliver of hope. And then of course, you know what? I just put it all together. And I'm gonna finish this episode in the best full circle I've ever had. Hell must be freezing over because we had a good OC episode of this season, and just in time for the Rapture.
Yeah, lucky us.
I mean, whatever. At this point,
our fans are going to be very interested to hear us not have a hate watch.
I know. There you go, Ryan. Well, we're still shit on Tamra a little bit, so I guess he's not gonna be happy. But whatever. Let's get to some questions.
From Megano. Is Emily saying Gretcher's more or less annoying than Lindsay and Carl's babe?
It's on par.
It's Lindsay and Carl's babe was really bad.
That's close. It's pretty close.
Yeah, but Gretcher's sucks.
Yeah, Gretcher's is brutal. Quit trying to force it in there. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Charlotte Rimmer. Shannon's angry about Katie recording without permission, but Tamara and crew recorded a butt dial meltdown. Shooter points that out frequently. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
From B Mangram 0727. Thanks for taking the bullet and watching the show. We got you. We will always do it for you because we love you guys. But God, golly.
From Christine BB8, stopped watching this show, but how about Eagles Jordan Davis this weekend?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How about them birds? From Angel Renee, if you have housewife money, think Heather, not Gina. What are 3 things you'll buy? A vacation, personal. I got you. You can hire me, dude. I'm going vacation home, new truck, and a house in Italy.
Yeah, that's not really a vacation home. That would just be living there.
I would be going. Yeah, I would split time.
And then you would have a vacation home. Yeah,
I'd be bicontinental.
I think that's a pretty good lineup, honestly. Except for new truck, I would go personal chef.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Why from Zoe Killed the Play? Why can't Gretch just say that Slade's an SAHD?
Single at home dad.
Oh, stay at home dad, not single.
Stay at home dad. Single.
That would be better.
Kind of single at home dad.
Yeah, they're not married. I mean, look, if they're stay-at-home dads, like I don't have an issue with that. I don't care who's making that bread as long as somebody's taking care of the kids. If that was his role, in which he is the provider for the children and he's taking care of them all day while Gretchen's making money, fine. That's not what was presented to us. What was presented to us is he fucking hangs out at her house while she makes money. That's what we got. Yeah. So if he's a stay-at-home dad, that's fine, but that's not what it looks like. Let's do one more.
I'll do this one first, and then we can do one more. From Greenwich Borough Walks, Gretchen and Alexia both mucking up their comebacks. Epic fail. Do you agree? I'm going to do you one better. Whose comeback is less epic? Alexia? Well, Alexis. I keep saying Alexia. No, you read
What you gonna
Alexia.
say?
I'm gonna say it's
Alexis.
Alexis and Gretchen. Who had a worse comeback?
Oh man, I think Alexis only because she pushed the John Jansen stuff so much, but I would honestly say they're just different
Yeah.
because of like what we're presented with. But Gretchen, I mean, massive missteps like all along the way. We've seen so many instances where she could rise to the top, hold Tamara to the fire a little bit, and she's completely missed those opportunities. I mean, you could argue at least Alexis tried. I think that's pretty close. Just they look a lot different.
Yeah, I think Alexis is still way more of a failure.
Gretchen's
but
more entertaining on screen than like Alexis on screen drove me crazy. I couldn't stand her. So yeah, I guess Alexis is still worse. Last one.
Go ahead.
Oh, you got it? You got one.
I got one.
You go for it.
From DM Jazzwall. I don't blame Shannon for not being able to move forward with Tamra. Who needs to be gone? Unfortunately, in that situation, I would imagine Shannon would have to go.
Tamra can't go.
Tamra's a good housewife.
Yeah, it's the only thing really keeping this show going. Because if without Tamra, what are we talking? We're talking about Emily and Gina.
Yeah,
that's really it. I'll do one more from Iowalicious. No, just ... No. I agree. We're doing our best. We're doing our best.
Certainly are.
To those of you sadists out there that take pleasure in us having to watch this every week, first and foremost, thank you for listening to us. And second, what do we do to you? You know?
Yeah.
What's your problem with us?
What's your beef with us?
Yeah, it's not cool, man. But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope. All good here.
That's our show, bros. Gotta go. Bye.
Bye.